Mute.
We'll get started in just about 1 minute. Give people time to get in and get going. We'll get started. All right. So let me go ahead and take me out of the picture. So today I want to talk to you about mastering employee feedback. Before we get started and get a few more people in, I wanted to let you know that if you have not registered for the summit, it's September 29th through the October 2nd in New Orleans down at the Ritz-Carlton, I would advise you to go ahead and get your seat. We're selling out fast, and the price goes up substantially in the next 2 weeks. So if you're thinking about going, but you're not sure, go ahead and register, get your room. You can get a refund. I think it's up to like 30 days before, and if not, we'll give you credit either way, or we'll work something out. That could work for you if you think you might have a trial or something. But anyway, and if you're not a lawyer, but you're one of the staff people there, the marketing director or administrative, um, like office manager or uh, COO or whatever, we got some extra programs this year, breakout sessions just for you. So a lot of new things coming this year down in New Orleans. All right. So we're going to talk about mastering employee feedback. So I think now more than ever, you as a law firm owner, manager, or whatever, or law office manager, you need to master the art of giving and receiving employee feedback. And so I know you're thinking, well, why do I care? I pay them, I pay them to do a job, whatever. Well, here's why. Because they just did this Achievers did a survey, and 52% of adults said they intended to be looking for a new job in 2021. And now more than ever, it's hard. I mean, people coming back out of COVID, people just aren't sure they want to go back to work. Um, and if you got A players, you want to hold on to them. And if you're not feeling appreciated or not feeling affirmed, you're going to lose some of your key people. I promise you. Now, here's another thing. Of these 52%, they said they were going to look for a new job in 21. This is compared to 35% in 2019 and 2020. So there's something going on, and I think it was COVID. I think it's got people thinking about different things. And here's another part of that survey: 60% of them said that their employers sought their feedback for improving employee experience, but only 16% said their employer always takes action on their feedback. Well, of course, you're not going every time, but that's it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. The deal is the perception. And so how you increase that perception is that you're engaged with them, is giving feedback and getting feedback from them. Um, like I said, COVID-19 has led to 46% of employees feeling less connected to their company or your law firm than they did before the pandemic. And I think we've seen that with everybody. It's just harder when you're not in the same office, not at the water cooler, not at breaks, or different things. And 20% of them said that they're feeling underappreciated for their work, hindered their engagement because they just don't feel like they're appreciated. And 40% said the managers were just okay at recognizing their work. And here was almost 70% of them said that their relationship with their manager would improve if they recognized them more. So this is why you really need to work on employee feedback and your feedback to your employees. Because we all know how hard it is to find A players, and you all know that you cannot build a very highly successful law firm or any business for that matter without having a majority of A players. And those are people that you don't have, that they're self managers. They're hungry to learn, and they get stuff done, and you don't never have to worry about them. They take ownership and they get the job done, and that's who you want. You don't want to have to micromanage people. And then here's the deal: once you find these people, you got to engage with them and see, because you want them to stay. You don't want them to be one of the 52% that are looking for leaving this year from your employment. So many of you are also facing uh, staff who don't want to come back to the office after COVID. I've heard this from many lawyers. Not everybody. Some of them are crazy to come back, but there's some people that really don't want to come back. They got used for almost over a year working from home, and they like it, or they've saving money off of child care or whatever, different reasons. Maybe they just feel like they have more quality of life because they don't have to commute 2 hours every day. Whatever the reason is, you've got this going on. So how are you going to handle all this? Well, you got two issues. You got another thing with this, it's productivity, and then you got the culture of the law firm, and culture is very important. So here's my recommendation as far as letting people come back. You got to make your own decision. I know some lawyers say that they're going to come back or they're fired, and that's fine. But just know that it's hard to find good help. My deal is if they were productive at home and it's a job that can be done from home, then leave them there. But you've got to have engagement, and I like the use of daily huddles and software to keep morale and culture high. And you don't know what a daily huddle is, I can get into that. I'll just give you a brief deal. It's basically, I do it. We've been doing it at Pilma for over 3 years, and I highly recommend it. We were doing it before pandemic, so and a lot of you are doing it during pandemic. But the deal is, you get together, you different groups, and you have a 5 to 10 minute huddle every morning. And you each person they got three things to say. What was my big win for yesterday? My big accomplishment? Am I stuck on anything? And then, or am I not stuck on anything? And then, what's my big priority for the day? Now the deal is you can just do it standing up, or if you've got people that are remote, then you can bring them in on Zoom and then let them meet there with the people that are in the office. But it gives, I think it helps with communication, affirmation. You can do your shout outs then. Um, and I really think though, when you get into where they say, I've got a stuck, you really don't want to address that there. You take it offline and somebody can help them and say, well, I can help you with that, but we'll do it after the huddle. Because you want to keep the huddle, under 7 minutes. Everybody should not take over 30 seconds tops, 15 to 30 seconds. Like I said, I went from yesterday, well, I'm not stuck, and priority for the day. And it keeps people focused on what the big deal is. And you can do this by your executive team, your paralegals, your attorneys, your marketing team. What you don't want to do, I don't think, is have the whole firm, especially if you got 20 or 30 people in there. It just takes too long. Um, and then you can have the leads. Uh, I think the ideal situation would be where the executive team, which might be the office, you know, manager, it might be the head lawyer, might be the head paralegal, will be kind of like the executive team, and then the each one of those, or head marketing person, or your marketing director, and then they have their little meetings, and then you have your meeting with your executive team. That gives you an idea of what's going on in the office. It's all about communication. And then I also think things you need to do as far as morale is do like a group thing each quarter for the entire team. And this can be like taking them to ball games, picnics, movies. I know some lawyers, they'll rent out the whole movie theater for one night, take everybody there, buy them popcorn and drinks and sodas. Some people rent a bus and take everybody over to a minor league game or major league game. Uh, or you can also just rent a park and have food catered in and have a picnic with games and have them bring the whole family and have like a family day. The deal is you want some interaction. You can also use engagement software. And this is something kind of new. We're in the age of the technology, the chip, whatever is what I call it, the age of the chip, microchip. Uh, and here's why I think it's so important as far as getting feedback. If you get people in a room and ask them for their feedback, they're not going to be honest. That's just the way it is. Or if you ask them to send you an email from a survey, they're not going to be honest, not completely honest. Some will, but a majority of them won't. So if you can find a software tool that has anonymous, so they know it's anonymous, they trust that it's anonymous, you'll get a lot better uh, honest responses and constructive criticism. And it's reserved for the bottom up feedback, so an employee can provide feedback on their manager because they're not going to say anything because they don't want to get fired. So continuous feedback is another form of real time feedback, which is becoming more and more popular. And I really believe in this. I think employees are more likely to be engaged if they're receiving a constant feedback rather than once or twice a quarter or once or twice a year. You know, because I think it allows them to constantly recalibrate their goals and people want to know where they stand. They really do. I mean, that's why you have scoreboards. That's why you have KPIs. That's why you have benchmarks. And when goals are more present in their mind, I think engagement's higher. Well, I don't think it is. I know it is. And so you want to uh, give constant feedback. How can they get better if they don't know better? So here's some employment engagement software. I don't recommend any one of them. You can do your own research because I've not used any of them, so therefore I cannot vouch for the how good they are. But as you can see, there's over 15 of them. Uh, and you can just Google employment engagement software, and you'll probably find something there. It does. Somebody does a review all of them and kind of ranks them. But there's so many of them out there, and some of them have different things. And if you don't want to deal with the software, which I think if you can get the software that's anonymous, I think that's the best. But if you don't want to do that or you can't afford it, you can create your own surveys with a simple Word document or a Survey Monkey. And here's something I used to do when I was doing consulting work. I would send a blind survey, and I had about 38 questions on it to law firms, and they were not to sign who it was, and I made them multiple choice answers, where they didn't have to do their handwriting, so nobody could figure out who it was, because some people won't even do that because they know their handwriting. And I would have them give them to a certain person. They designate somebody in their office they trust, and put them in an envelope and they would put them in an envelope, then they would put them in a big manila envelope and mail them to me. And that gave me a lot of insight on what the problems and what kind of culture that law firm had before I ever got there. I could tell them what their issues were before I ever walked in the door just by doing that blind survey. And so I know that it works because when you got them blind and they know nobody knows who it is, that's going to make it, you can get more honest, reliable feedback. And listen, there's always going to be somebody in the firm, just like you always got some clients that you just can't never please, and you got to take that to account. Like if you got 20 employees and you got 19 that think you're doing a great job as far as acknowledge them and affirming them, and you got one that says that you're crappy. I wouldn't worry about that because there's always one in every crowd, right? So here's something that we do. Here's the other deal. I really do not believe in annual reviews anymore. Uh, we try to do this every month at PILMA, and here's what I like about it. We do this, and then we have questions. Are you doing the best work of your life? If not, what would enable you to do so? Do you feel that your work makes a difference in the company, the customer, and to the world? Do your colleagues think you make a difference? Do you feel fully utilized? How else can we take advantage of your talents? What frustrates you in your current job? What restricts productivity and innovation? This lets them know that you care, and you should care, because your job as an employer, as a leader, is to coach these people up and make them better tomorrow than they are today. And then here's the other deal too. Doing this every month, I think really keeps everything fluid and real time. Uh, and ask them, what do they want? What do they want? Where do they think that they need development? And what's their goals for the next evaluation period? Uh, you know, whether you want to do these monthly, you could do this part quarterly, you could do these questions monthly. And I wrote an article in the Pilma magazine, the Insider's Journal, and I think it came out this month actually, where I've got these forms, and these forms are also in the um, members vault or members resources. And if you don't know how to get in there, you should be in there. There's just a wealth of forms and templates. You can uh, call Darlene at the office, and she'll walk you through it. But I think this really is the deal, because people are saying, here's what I hear all the time: I cannot find good people, you know, or I can't hold on to good people because of the poachers. Well, if you take some interest if you do what I'm telling you today, these people are going to stay with you, even if they get offered more money, most of them. And if they're going to leave for an extra dollar an hour, you probably were not the right person for your law firm anyway, the way I look at it. Uh, Doing this also, I think, helps you to where you can hire people, and they don't have to be in the office. If your talent pool, I know some areas the talent pool is just not there. You can expand your talent pool instead of just within an hour of your office. It could be the whole United States. It could be the whole world actually. And I think that's very, very important, because if you want to build a successful law firm, like I said at the beginning, you got to have A players, and Bernhard says it very well. You cannot build a great company on the back of average employees. And here's the rest of the questions. What do you like best about your current role? What would you like more of? Where would you like to be in the organization 2 years from now? What is a personal goal you want to accomplish in the next 6 to 12 months? What are the most challenging but exciting aspects of your current job situation? How can we further challenge you? Because if you got A players, that's what they want. They want to be challenged. They don't want to be bored. Have you recently been recognized or praised in a way that increased your commitment to the job? How can we further acknowledge you? So these are the type of things that if you want to get good feedback, and you want to hold on to these A players, this is the way to do it. I promise you. It's more important than money. It's more important than job title. I can promise you. The surveys and the different organizations out there that have done this, it bears it out every time. It's been that way for the last 30 years. I've been looking at surveys and different things, polls that they've done over the years, and it's always the same thing. Number one reason people quit their job, they don't like their immediate supervisor. The second reason is they feel unappreciated. They don't feel like they're appreciated. And the third reason is money. It's not the number one reason. Never has been, never will be. So, like I said earlier, your job as the leader of your law firm is to help your team reach their goals, their dreams. Because if you can help them reach their goals, their dreams, they're going to help you reach your goals. And they will not care about you until they know how much you care about them. I can promise you. Um, and I want to tell you, if you really want to get into this, because it's all about leadership, if you think about it, John Maxwell I've been reading 4 or 5, he's written probably 20 or 30 books on it, but the 5 levels of leadership and the 21 indisputable laws of leadership are probably two of the best books he's written. I recommend them if you got any leadership or you want to be a leader in your firm. And here's the deal: you've got to have leaders in your firm. In fact, the studies show that you need a leader, not a manager, but a team leader by every 8 to 10 employees in your law firm or any business. So like I said, your job is to coach these people up to reach their goals, and then they're going to help you reach your goals. And you do this with supporting them in their outside education and even creating your own management and leadership courses. Or you make it, people that want to grow, uh, they're hungry to learn. And so if you can give them books or buy them books that you think will help them grow, or send them to a course, or buy an online course that will help them, do it. You know, whatever it takes to help them feel like you want to help them grow, it's going to help you grow. I can promise you. But I like doing these things on a monthly basis as far as the feedback, at least the questions. Um, you might say, I don't have time. My deal is if you're trying to, I mean, this should not take over 15 minutes. Um, and if you've got a lot of employees, then you probably got an HR person or somebody that can do this. It doesn't have to be the owner. It can be the office manager. It could be the HR person. It could be the leader. Like whoever's the head lawyer to the lawyers, they could do the lawyers. Uh, the office manager could do the staff. Uh, However you want to do it, just depends on how big you are. But the deal is you really want to do it because it will reap you benefits down the road. And like I said earlier, when they know you care about them, they will care more for you and your law firm. I promise you. Just like the old adage I say, the way you treat your employees is the way they're going to treat your clients, and it's the same thing here. Um, it really does start at the top. It always has. It always will. Um, you know. So here's another tactic: is to take one team member from your law firm out to lunch each week, and if they're remote, you can order food for them in and do a Zoom call, and just ask them what their goals and for honest feedback. Um, and if maybe they won't give you everything, but at least they know you care enough to ask. I used to do that in my law firm. I used to take somebody out. We had close to 70 employees, so it would take me over a year to get through everybody. But if I was in the town, I made an effort at least take somebody else out to lunch at least once a week, and just find out about them, their family, what they're going through. What do they want to do? What's their goals? Do they want to be a lawyer? Do they want to elevate in the company? Are they satisfied with where they're at? What can we do? If this was your law firm, what would you do to make it a better place? I ask that question a lot. If this was your business, what would you do to make it a better place? Or just what would you do? What would you do with it? What would you change? These are the type of things you need to know, that you, as a law firm owner or office manager, or whatever you are, whoever you are here today, marketing director, you need to think about, because you cannot get better if you don't know, right? Just like I've always said, I welcome negative feedback from past clients if it's true, because how can I stop it? How can I change it if I don't know it? Same thing with this with your employees. How can you get better if you don't know what's wrong? So far we've covered getting feedback from your team, but you also has to give your team feedback from you and your management team. Okay, that's very important, and we kind of talked about that too. So, like I said, I think formal annual reviews are a waste and ineffective. Uh, you want to acknowledge people with shout outs. People, especially, I think everybody blames it, says the millennials, but hell, everybody likes to get a pat on the back and that attaboy had a good job or whatever. And they love it when it's in front of their peers. I can tell you, um, I can tell you that there was a lawyer that left the firm, and I asked him, I said, "Why did you leave the firm?" He says, "I just didn't feel like I was appreciated. I hit I hit real big cases, and instead of giving me a pat on the back, that everybody acted like they were jealous, and I just couldn't live in that environment." Well, whoever owned that law firm really fell down a job. Because I can remember when my lawyers used to hit a big verdict, I would that afternoon or the next afternoon, I'd take them all out after work to some restaurant and have hors d'oeuvres and drinks and celebrate that victory. And we all celebrated it as a team. Now, how do you think that lawyer felt? That lawyer that lawyer's still at the firm, right? Absolutely, because I affirmed and let them know I appreciated it. And I made a big deal out of it in front of their peers, in front of their, well, their teammates, their fellow lawyers. And that makes, and maybe somebody might be jealous. But the deal is, if that one that's jealous hits something or makes a big settlement, I'm going to do that with them too. So I think it gives them something to strive for. And people love recognition. And here's the other deal, though. People also want to know where they stand with you, and I think you got to let them know when they're not doing something instead of saying, "Man, are they ever gonna get up to par or whatever?" Well, no, they won't if they don't know. And so I think you got to do it, but you don't do that. Do that opposite. You don't shout it out. You bring them inside one on one and tell them what. And then there's a book that you probably ought to read called Crucial Conversations. Uh, and trying to think who it's by, but I cannot remember right now. Uh, but I require anybody that works for me that's in management has to read that book. Uh, and I would tell you that if you got any kind of management, you need to read that book because it really gets into how you deal with constructive criticism or how to coach somebody up that's not performing well, and sometimes how to get rid of them. There it is. Yeah, Crucial Conversations by Stephen Nasakovi. Um, Patterson, that's why I didn't know it's about four of them. But it's a bestseller, New York Times bestseller. It's 4 million copies sold. Really, and it's not that long a book. It really is a good book. So here's the basic thing: to excel at crucial conversations, you must master the art of dialogue, and that's where this book is really good. And this means you got to be able to open an interaction and converse freely with another person. You can't hold back. And remember, uh, like I said earlier, and I'll say it probably five more times before we get out of here today, people like to know where they stand. You like to know where you stand. We all like to know where we stand in our relationships with people we love, in our job, everywhere we are. We like to know where we stand. And then, the thing I was showing you before was like their self evaluation. When you go over it with them, help them set out these quarterly goals of things they should do if they want to reach their personal goals. Like I said, coach them up. That's going to make them know that you really care, and it's going to help them grow, which is going to help you and your business grow. Repeat myself, but that's the deal. As I said earlier, your job is to coach them up. So here, I want to give you a couple books because I could talk about this for 3 or 4 hours. Uh, but I suggest you give it to each team member and have a discussion once a month in a group setting, especially the people that you want to be leaders in your firm. I didn't say managers; I said leaders. The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. This is it's a good read. It's a quick read, and it's written like a novel. What I'm saying is, it's not just a bunch of theory and stuff. It's a story of these five employees and a new person coming in to manage them and how she deals with it. It's really is good, and you'll get a lot out of it, and your people will get a lot out of it too. And then the other one is another one with John Maxwell, the 17 indisputable laws of teamwork. So in summation, and I'll take questions here at the end. You can do it in the Q&A if you like, or the chat. You got to give, if you want to attract and keep A players, which you do, because like I said, no great law firm can be built on the back of B and C players. You got to have some A's. You got to have more A's than you got B's, and you don't need any C's. Give timely and helpful feedback. Fish for feedback on from your team on a regular basis. Affirm their good deeds and have crucial conversations within a relevant time frame. That's another deal. Don't wait forever. It's like when you're training a dog, you got to deal with it right then, or they don't connect it right. Same thing with dealing with constructive criticism. And like I said, coach them up and help them reach their goals because when they know you care, that's when they'll start caring. So Oh, yeah, more about the summit. What and I said we got special breakout sessions for staff, and you need to get it because you're gonna save up $1,100 if you do it before the end of the month. Now, do I have any questions? You can just go in the Q and A, or you. I think it's just a Q and A on this. We don't have a chat. Well, maybe I do. Okay, here we go. James Murphy. Well, James, yeah, I can probably do that. And an employee evaluation is on the Pima website. Yep. Okay. So I got the chat part down. Any any questions? Well, then either I must have did a terrible job or I did a really great job and there's no questions. I don't know. I always get scared when there's no questions because I know it's either one way or the other. How about this? Uh, those that are there, did you find this helpful? You can just type in yes in the chat. And if you didn't, say no. I can take the crucial conversations of the critical, constructive criticism. I'm okay with that. Just need to know if this is something I need to repeat or write about. Okay. All right. Good deal. This is important. This is not the stuff people end up wanting to join PILMA for. You know, everybody joins PILMA uh, wants to get more cases. Uh, but the deal is once you get the cases, if you ain't got the people there to work them, you ain't gonna you're not gonna grow your law firm. And Ezekiel wants to know how do you find good candidates, employees? Well, it's not easy, my friend. I can tell you this. I think I did an article on that, but I use Indeed. But you got to, and the deal is you've got to be figure out exactly what kind of people you're looking for. But I think the big deal is really find good people. You've got to have a good place. I go to my Glassdoor to see what kind of reviews you got. Because if you got bad reviews, the younger generations, they look at this thing called glassdoor.com. And if you got bad reviews, they're not going to want to work with you. People want to work with places that they uh, think they can grow, and it's all on you. Um, you set out what you got to offer. To get the best, you got to be the best, and you've got to offer good benefits, competitive pay, but it's got to be a good place. And I think you got to find people that their values align with your values. And what I mean by that, your core values uh, is very, very important. But it's now more than ever, it's hard to find good employees. And here's where I see Ezekiel. I think different. Of course, I can say that now because I'm not practicing, but I was this way before. Other than a trial lawyer, or if I had to have a really good litigator, I just seem to have somebody with no experience and let me train them my way. If they got the right attitude and aptitude, and what I mean by that is, if they're going to be a team player, and a good team player is somebody who's humble but confident. They're hungry to learn, and they've got really good people smarts. And what I mean by that is they know how to interact with people and get along and be a team player. And if they give me those three deals and they can type and I do a typing test and they got good grammar, I give them a grammar test. And then I give them a Jay Henderson test that lets me know they're not manipulative. I can even do a disc test. Then I know what I'm getting, and I can mold that person. And if I got the good process and procedures and a good onboarding, then I can get those. I can turn those people into what I want. But I cannot, as John Morgan said, I can't teach hungry, and I can't, uh, I can't teach. I cannot teach attitude. And you know, if somebody's got a lousy attitude or a pessimistic person or they don't have empathy, then they don't need to be working in a law firm, in my law firm anyway. So, you know, that's the way I look at it. But now I see lawyers all the time and they disagree. They say, I don't have time to train them or I don't have the setup to train them. And I'm really just looking for somebody that's got a lot of experience. Well, if that's what you want, then you just gonna have to pay more and it's gonna, and you gotta know that they'll probably leave you too when somebody else offers them more unless you give them enough feedback, good feedback like we talked about here today. Uh, but I hope that helped. Did that help, Ezekiel? But I mean, I use Indeed. Some people, I know some lot of people are using LinkedIn, and they got a program you can pay a lot of money, and they'll help you do it. But I wouldn't do that. I just Indeed's always what I've used, and just go through a pretty good vetting system and do some testing. All right, good deal. Well, listen, thank y'all. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope this has been informative, and hope to see y'all at the summit. It really is going to be fun. It's a fun time, and it's also a great learning time. We've got 36 speakers lined up during about 4 days, so it should be really a blast. All right. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success. Thank y'all.